Okay, it's Calculating Genius, and normally I don't do rant videos. In fact, I don't think I've ever done a rant video on this channel. But I think there's some things I have to address with the 2017 Galaxy J3. So the first thing I should address is the screen. The screen on the 2016 model was a 720p Super AMOLED screen. And that screen was one of the most best screens I've ever seen, period. This was on like Galaxy S8 levels of brightness and clarity. Yeah, 720p, but the pixels were really close to each other. There wasn't much gap, so it was really nice to look at. The colors were super bright, and they weren't oversaturated either. Came from the factory like that too. Like, the whites were absolutely perfect because AMOLED screens are just like that, and I love that about AMOLED screens. But this year on the 2017 model, they downgraded that to a TFT LCD. I mean, it's still 720p, but the colors aren't nearly as vibrant. There's no deep blacks like you get on Super AMOLED screens, and it plain isn't as good. There's a bunch of space in between the pixels, making it easy to actually identify each individual pixel, and it's sort of weird to look at sometimes because of those viewing angles. The second thing I want to address is the camera. The camera is still 5 megapixels, but one thing to note is that the image sensor is actually smaller on the 2017 model. You can see this easily in a couple of pictures, which I'll probably have propped up here and here. But basically, the image sensor is a bit smaller, meaning that it can't capture as much light. The only upgrade I see is that it can 1080p, but it doesn't really look like 1080p, even being played on my 1080p monitor. And the second thing I want to address is the flash. The flash on this 2016 model was like 1/4 of an inch big. That is huge for a flash. Do you know how bright that thing was? If we were waving our phones around at a concert, mine was the brightest. It was awesome. But this year they got like some weird little tiny puny flash. It was stupid. It's not nearly as bright. It doesn't even work for a flashlight half the time. The third thing here is the build design and the body design. The 2016 model actually looks somewhat in line with the Galaxy S series, but the 2017 model looks like some sort of cheap T-Mobile flagship or something. It doesn't look good at all. In fact, I'd call it ugly compared to the freaking 2016 model. Why did they change this? The back removable cover is like 10 times harder to remove now. Why? They didn't even make the plastic harder. They just curved it around the edges a whole bunch. There's no need for that. Why don't they just have this classic design where you peel it off? That makes no sense. And also, the sides of the phone are made out of the same material as the back, meaning it can crack and chip easier. The 2016 model, it looks more premium. It almost looked like metal, and I thought it was metal at first, but it doesn't look nearly as good now. And also, going back to the camera, there was a metal ring around the camera on the 2016 model. It helped protect the camera, and it also looks pretty cool. But this year, they decided to remove that, so now you just have a boring glass circle centered camera, and that's sort of boring, and I really don't like it. It looks cheap, terrible, and it really shows its price compared to even some good $200 flagships. One thing that really annoys me is, look at this. Look at the freaking speaker. What the hell? Why is it on the side? Why can't it be on the back, or even better, on the front? I wouldn't even care if they put it on the bottom. But why? Why did they put the speaker on the sides? When you're listening to videos vertically, it sounds like the sound is only coming to one ear. And when you're listening to videos like this, it's really hard. It's really easy to cover up the speaker because most people hold their phones like this. It's really annoying. And if you flip it up, it sounds like it's coming from the bottom, and that's really weird. So why did they put it on the bottom? And why did they move the headphone jack too? I mean, there's no need to move the headphone jack to the bottom. Why did they keep it on the top? I don't know. One last thing, not going directly to this phone, but the Samsung in general, is a stupid Android 7 skin they have. It looks retarded. They have this stupid wireframe aesthetic, and there's no detail in anything. It looks super boring, and it doesn't look futuristic at all, especially when it's blended in with all these boring white backgrounds and the text default they have. They could have matched something in this operating system, but they didn't. Why couldn't it be stock Android? I know it's Samsung, but geez, the Android 6 skin looked awesome. Why couldn't they just revamp that a little for Android 7? They don't have to completely change it for every freaking version of Android. So yep, there's that.